I had read all the books, gone to sales training, Six Sigma, done them all. They told us what we were supposed to do,
Right.
but didn't explain to us what that actually meant. You're selling well if you are on the same side of the table as the person you're selling to.
Yes, I forgot about that one.
Or you need to
bring your chair around.
Yeah, or you need to listen more.
Right.
Or
everything's listening, right?
Right. It was the worst sales call of my life, and I got to the point where he was telling me he believed everything that I said. We knew each other on a personal level, right. but he still wasn't showing up, writing any of my product, and I didn't know where else to go with him. And I said, I thought that you liked me. Why are you not doing this? Well, it was an impasse. I had done everything that I was told that I was supposed to do.
How much time did you spend with that guy? Do you know?
I'd spent 4 years and he had not written a thing.
You spent chasing the guy 4 years?
Yeah.
Listening to him,
yeah.
Right?
I'd been to pool parties at his house. I'd gotten clothes
4 years.
Clothes hand-me-downs from his kids.
How did you not lose your mind on this and give up?
It was almost business as usual. Once you do everything that you're supposed to do, you almost go into robot mode where you're not really accomplishing anything, but you're just doing what you've been instructed to do.
But it wasn't necessarily because it was effective.
Right.
It was because you were told to do it.
Right. If you do these things, then this will be the success or the outcome that you have.
Okay. So you busted out the good line of, hey, I thought we were friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine doing that today?
No. Instead, I would be able to. I now do something that I used to sell. I used to tell aggressively. And
you used to tell aggressively?
I used to tell aggressively.
That's so funny. I've never heard it phrased like that.
Which meant that I would go in and I would give factual statements, right, that I assumed would lead to sales.
Right.
And then I got a little bit better and I learned how to sell aggressively, okay, which means that your ABC always be closing.
Right.
And then I realized...
That make you feel better when you were doing that?
Yeah, but that was when we talked about this. That was when my success fluctuated, right, all over the board, because I was looking on to sometimes doing the right thing, but I didn't know why, and I didn't know how to reproduce it.
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint it. Yeah, that's right.
Because I didn't know what the process was, and now myself and the whole team do what we call is helping aggressively. Okay. And what that means is we figure out where the process is lacking, figure out what that means to the other person involved, all the stakeholders. Right. We've learned that there's not just one, but there's multiple people involved with any one decision. Right. And each person has not only their own motivations, but their own processes that they go through to get there.
So did you become aware of that right after you started using the blueprint, or that took some time to discover?
It took some time.
I mean, because that's what the blueprint does, is get you to learn.
It was almost like the blueprint was a decoder ring for me.
Yeah, it is. You about the glassy-eyed looks, the unengaged stares, and the fake smiles, which we've all seen, just like right now, across every meeting, right?
Right.
So, has the blueprint then changed your ability to notice those looks, know what they mean, and be more effective? Because we're all told it's listening, but is listening the problem?
It's not the problem. In fact, it's, I told you earlier into this process, when you told me one of the stories of how you were using the blueprint, that you told someone, I can't remember, I think you said stop right there, or...
Right, I interrupted, right?
You interrupted, and I said that was courageous. Right. And at the time, you didn't know what that meant. And now, we talk about how everyone sees things different ways. And in my mind, I was never scared to close. Right. I was never scared to get a no. I was never scared to have a hard conversation. Right.
But the worst thing about being in sales is when you're not getting the no, right?
Right, is when you're getting to an impasse. Right. And to me, the courageous conversation was pulling back the curtain and just taking off the mask of the sales guy, having him take off the mask of the physician and say, okay, let's talk about what's really going on here.
So you will interrupt. You will approach to get the breakthrough now.
Not only that, but the doctors appreciate it. I had doctors tell me, when a rep walks through the door, we all know why he's here, but you're the only one who actually tells me why you're here.
What does that sound like?
It's, I think it's refreshing for the doctors. It's funny because I used to have about a third of my doctors that when they saw, about a third of my doctors when they see any rep,
They're
turn the other way and run down the hall.
They're hoping you didn't see them seeing you.
Right.
Okay.
There are about a third of my doctors before would talk to me, but they would just kind of nod politely.
Okay.
And I would have conversations with about a third of them. And now that I use the blueprint, I guess the catchphrase is you can meet them where they are,
Right.
but you're able to break down the process, and every conversation is a productive one, no matter if it's a baby step from starting over,
Right.
or you're to the next step of getting them to prescribe the medicine that's best for their patients.
Does it feel like you're really making a difference now?
It does, and that's what I was going to say is now, in every case, when I see a doctor, either when they see me in the hall, before the conversation's over, I get a sigh of relief. And that sigh of relief is, thank you. Thank you for understanding what I'm going through. Thank you for trying to be a part of the solution. Thank you for not trying to talk to me today because I'm too busy.
Tell me the story about that one, because you've told it to me before and I love it, which is the one where you're like, I walked in, using the blueprint, you now know, before you can start, to look and see what's going on in the world.
Yeah. So I was talking to a doctor, and I was about 30 seconds into the conversation. This is a doctor that I very rarely got to see, and someone that I really needed to talk to. And I was talking to him about 30 seconds into the conversation. I stopped and said, "But you don't care right now, do you?"
Because you can see it, right?
I can see it. And he laughed and said, "I do care, but I'm just, there's," his actual quote was, "I'm ass deep in alligators right now." So I asked him when he would not be ass deep in alligators.
Right.
And he gave me time, and I was able to have a conversation with him. In that time, I had a breakthrough.
And that was it. And he loved it. The doctor
Yeah.
loved it. You noticed?
It's funny because it's human nature. I see relief on these guys' faces because someone is finally listening to them. Someone's actually trying to get them.
So you could tell you're being heard and understood, and they're feeling heard and understood.
Yeah, and it's not hard anymore. It actually becomes a relief to not only yourself but the other person. Because let's face it, everyone is, unless someone's a psychopath, everyone's trying to help, right?
Yeah, we're all trying to do.
We just don't know how to do that.
It's hard.
Yeah. So if you can be the person that leads a person down the path to not only helping themselves but helping their clients, then you become an added value to that person.
Do you think it's groundbreaking what the blueprint has done for you?
I think it is because I think one of the things that I told you before is sometimes I felt fake, like I was trying to act like.
You were just going through the motions.
Right. Like I was trying to act like I thought a successful salesperson did.
So before, it's fair to say you were basically doing what you're supposed to do, and a lot of it was guessing.
A lot of it was guessing, and a lot of it was just trying to imitate what good looks like.
Right.
And I was able to break that down for myself through the blueprint and figure out on a case-by-case basis what that actually looked like.
Right. This is what works. This is what doesn't. So stop doing that.
Right.
And you understood why.
And sometimes I also learned through the blueprint that sometimes the blueprint.
I'll edit that. Promoting new boss probably not.
I did get promoted.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I also won Circle of Excellence last year.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Was that? Yeah, I saw that you were ranked 25. So before the blueprint, you were what? Do you know?
I had won an area before.
What's area mean? Just Texas, Dallas?
It means it's probably top 15% of the company.
Okay.
But national CEO is top 4% of the company.
So you run, that's called national CEO?
So, going there, he loves me. We talk golf. He tells me about the good old days, but I never sell him anything. So I'm in the process with my boss, doing the thing that you do with your boss, where you go from the beginning to the end, sell them, close them on something. I get to the close, and he goes, I can do that.
Okay.
And my boss is about to leave because that's where it usually goes.
Okay.
He's happy. The conversation's over.
Right.
I go, based on the way you said that, the look on your face, you either don't believe me or don't care.
Okay. The boss or the doctor?
The doctor.
Okay.
He smiled real big and he goes, I really don't give And I go, so my boss got scared.
Okay.
And
you called him out on it.
Yeah, and I go,
you saw it. You saw it when
he
was legit, right?
And I said, why don't you care? And he goes, there is so much stuff going on. So many stakeholders pulling me in so many different directions.
Right, stretch it thin.
So many reps coming in here.
Right.
I made the decision that unless it helps my patients and I can see where it would help them today,
right, I
don't care.
Okay.
So I said, can I tell you a reason why this will help your patients today?
Okay.
He said yes. I told him a reason. He goes, now that makes sense.
Okay.
And I said, on the last thing, remember he had told me, unless it was specifically going to help his patients, he didn't. I go, last thing, I know you want to know about coverage. With this card, it's going to cost your patients $15.
Okay.
To which he replied, smiled again because now I'm back in rep mode.
Okay.
So he's back in doctor versus rep mode.
Okay.
And he goes,
what is it? What is 5 versus 5?
Yeah. He goes, doesn't your competition have the same card? And I said, honestly, doctor, I don't give a
What did he say?
He laughed and gave me a high five.
Really? That's awesome, man. That you feel free enough.
Yeah.
Was your boss there?
Yes. Yeah.
What did he do?
He
laughed his ass off.
He said that was one of the best calls I've ever had. He's ever seen.
So, are you sharing this with people that you work with? I hope so. I hope it's making your whole team better.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I mean, I'm sure you're not sitting there going, and there's the blueprint and all that.
But I'm not, and it's still, there's still, every time you talk to someone, there's still a lot of decoding involved.
Right.
There's like lots of conversations of, I mean, even you and I had those conversations. When you say this, what does that mean?
Just now.
Right.
5 minutes ago.
Right. So I had a meeting today at 3:30 with my team. And I would say something, and they would say, okay, when you say this, what does that look like?
Okay.
So
you step them through and make sure that they're asking you when they break down.
But it's almost refreshing because we almost, when I talk about patronizing the doctors, it's because the doctors don't want to unless they really trust you, they don't want to let their guard down to let you know what they don't know. And that's how it is with almost anybody.
No, it's basic human 101, yeah.
It's so...
No one wants to look vulnerable.
No.
You can't allow yourself.
But if you trust someone and you feel comfortable being vulnerable around them, whether or not it's a client, someone on the client staff, or someone on your sales team, if you actually are able to have those conversations at a human level, using techniques from the blueprint, then it's actually everyone involved is relieved.
Okay, so you're national CEO level 4 now? Is that what you're...
It's top 4%.
So you went from top 25%
right
to top 4%.
Right.
And the main difference would you attribute to the fact that what the blueprint can do for you?
I think so. I think that...
I don't want to take away that you were already a good salesperson.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to get at. This took you to the... Because I want other people who are good salespeople to realize this could add... This takes you to the next 4%.
Yeah, I think that why it's so powerful is because, like we talked about before, everyone. I mean, you and I discussed how this applies to coaching in sports too.
Yes.
Just like a little kid, a 9-year-old kid who's on a select team.
Right.
There is no doubt in anyone's mind that they're trying to do their best. That's why they get up when all the other kids are playing video games and go to a practice. There's no doubt that the coach who takes time from his family and his job to coach kids for free is their heart is in the right place.
Right. They want to see the kids succeed.
Right. But yet time and time again that doesn't happen.
Right.
A salesperson, they're not at odds with the doctor that they're trying to help. The staff member that's on the doctor's team is not at odds with that doctor.
Right.
Everyone is trying to just find their way in this world and figure out how they can be part of the solution.
And I think the key is we're trying.
Right.
We don't always know how.
Right. So,
but we're all trying.
So going back to how the blueprint is a decoder, the blueprint just doesn't
put that on a reels. The blueprint.
The blueprint doesn't just tell you to try.
Right.
It decodes what try means
in real time. Too,
right. Right.
So, do you ever walk out of a meeting when you didn't close business, right, and say the reason why you didn't get that business was because they weren't listening?
No.
Never.
No. Since being introduced to the blueprint, I now never leave a sales call thinking that I didn't close business because the other person wasn't listening. In fact, I never leave a sales call unsuccessful because I always find another piece of information that helps me understand what that person is thinking or what that person is going through that's going to help move the process down the road and be a part of the solution.
So let me ask you one last question. I'll let you go because I know you got to go. On my website, it says, like the main thing when you pull up, I'll show you in a second. It says we provide coaching for sales professionals, or it says coaching for sales professionals that empowers them to close 95% of their qualified 95% of their qualified leads. Do you think that's a true statement?
Yes.